It's 9 o'clock.
Okay, it's 9 o'clock. All right, we are live. Okay, okay, just give me a minute. Give me a minute. I can share the link. All right. Okay, so welcome, welcome to this training video. So we're going to be starting in a minute. We're going to be starting in a minute. Welcome. So if you are just joining in, you can drop a comment on the comment section, right? You can drop a comment on the comment section. Okay, so welcome to today's training. As you can see on my screen, today we're going to be talking about the skill of website design. So I termed this particular training website design and the business of it. Can you see me? Okay, I think my camera is off. Okay, awesome. So we're going to be looking at website design and the business of it, right? And this week 3 of our training program. And then for the next 2 weeks, so this week and next week, we're going to be covering the topic of web design. Now, our aim is that by the end of next week, say next week Saturday, by next week Saturday, every one of us watching this training would have become a professional and a skilled website designer and go ahead to create a successful 6-figure per month business designing websites for clients. If you're excited about that, tell me on the comment section. Right? If you're excited about that, let me know on the comment section. So as you're joining in, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can just click on the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell to get notification once we upload a video or whenever we go live. So without wasting much time, because this training is going to be like the introductory class to website design, so we'll not waste too much of our time today. Okay, so as you can see, a brief of what I'll be covering. We're going to learn what websites are. We're going to learn all about websites, because if we want to become professional website designers or web consultants, I prefer the title web consultant, right? If you want to become a professional web consultant, you won't just have the skill of how to design website, but you also understand how things build up, understand how things work. So I'm going to try as much as possible to give us some kind of background knowledge as to how everything works when it comes to websites and when it comes to the internet, right? Then secondly, we're going to be answering the question, why learn a web design skill? Why learn a web design skill? So I'm going to be taking you through a number of reasons why it is important for us to learn a web design skill. So I'm just going to mention at this point, right? This is a digital marketing training, like I always mention, and we're going to touch or scrape the surface of a number of niches and areas in digital marketing. But web design is one core part that we're going to be spending time on. That is why we're spending 2 weeks on it, right? So I just wanted to mention that. Then next, we'll be looking at web consulting. That is the business of web design. So you have gotten the skill. What do you do with it, right? You've gotten the skill. How do you go about it? Then we're going to look at how to actually build websites, right? How to build websites. Now, the traditional way that people know about that gets them scared is coding, writing codes, and all those jargons is actually very confusing, even to me, who have like a number of years of experience doing digital and tech stuff, right? But that's the hard way, right? That is the hard way. So I'm going to be telling you about the hard way, and then I'll tell you the easy way and how you can become a web consultant by following this training series, right? We're going to be doing a number of videos on web design, because it's not something we can cover in a single 30 minutes or 1 hour class, because we really want to go to the roots and take it from the ground up. Then finally, I mentioned we're going to talk about how to monetize the skill and how to close your first client for at least 6 figures, right? How to close your first client for at least 6 figures. So I just want to check if you can hear me. Please let me know on the comment section so I'll know that my audio is good and that my video is good as well, right? So just give me a minute to confirm that. Okay, so without wasting further time, we'll just jump in. So actually, we're going to be holding 4 classes on web design, and today is the first installment, right? So we're going to be holding 4 classes on web design, and for class number 1 is going to be an introduction, where we actually introduce us to the concept of web design and how things work generally on the internet. So this foundation is very important, like I mentioned, because you won't just know how to design websites, you also know how website works, because you can meet clients and you really need to show that you're an expert before you can close jobs. So we're going to be talking about a number of stuff. Then, having done that, we're going to talk about how to actually design websites. So that's going to be in the second installment, right? Then number 3, we're going to talk about web consulting, the business of web design, how to close clients and all of that. And number 4, I'm going to be talking about, okay, actually, I'm going to teach us two simple ways to design websites, right? So we're going to cover one of the ways in lecture 2 and the second way in lecture 3. Then the 4th lecture is going to cover the business of web consulting. So it's going to be a very exciting ride, and the videos are not going to be that long. So just stay put and let us ride. So firstly, today we'll be covering the introduction. And for an introductory class, we're going to be talking about what are websites, why learn a website design skill, what is web consulting, and a number of stops. We'll also talk about types of websites you can build. We'll talk about types of websites you can build. We'll talk about the hard way of building websites and the easy way, which I'm going to show you in the course of this training, right? And finally, that's that. So let's get started already. So first, we want to answer the question of what are websites. So before we talk about building websites, we need to know what websites are. Okay, awesome. I have a number of persons joining in. So you can let me know in the comment section. So because from my streaming app, I may be able to see your comments. So I can't really check from the group directly. So what are websites? What are websites? So before we talk about how to design websites or why it is important to learn that skill, we need to know what websites are. And I was able to put forth a very simple definition because, like I said, this is a basic class. So I'm going to be taking things from the ground up and explaining them as in the simplest form as possible. So without mincing words or without getting things very complicated, websites are simply, a website is simply a set or a collection of related web pages which are located under a single domain. Now, if you look at this definition, there are 2 terms that may be strange to us: the term web pages and the term domain. And I'll be talking about that shortly, so don't get confused. So, but basically, just understand that a website is a set or a collection of related web pages which are located under a single domain. Now, a website could be one page, and if it's a one-page website, usually we'll call it a web page because it's just a single page. Then a website can span from one page to hundreds of pages, right? So you can have a 10-page website, you can have a 5-page website, you can have an 100 or 100-page website, as the case may be. So when we have a single web page website, we call it a web page, right? So if you go back to the definition, we realize that a website is a set or a collection of web pages. So where one page is called a web page. So when you have multiple pages, then we call it a website, right? A site which is on the web, right? A site which is on the web. Now, what is a web page? A web page is simply a document that is displayable by a browser. Now, it is very simple. It's just like having a piece of paper. This is a document, but this is physical, right? This is physical, and this cannot be displayed over a browser or over the internet or over the device. So you can only see this because I'm showing you over a camera. But a website is a displayable, is a document that can be displayed over the web, right? That can be displayed by a browser, right? That can be displayed by a browser. Now, before I move further, I'd like to actually talk about a few of these terms that I've mentioned so we don't get things twisted. Now, if a website or if a web page is a document that can be displayed by a browser, the next question will be, what is a browser? Now, we should be familiar with the term a browser, like you have your Chrome browser, you have your Edge browser, you have your Safari browser, depending on the device or the browser that you're comfortable with. So all these browsers, they do the same task, right? And their task is to display web pages. So it's either you are displaying a web page or you're displaying a website, which is a combination or a collection of web pages. Now, to give a simple definition to what a browser is simply an application program that provides a way to look at or interact with an information that is on the World Wide Web. A browser is simply an application that gives you, like, it gives you the ability to interact, to read or write. We call it read or write. So you can read, you can also engage with the information on the document that is on the World Wide Web, right? So that's what a browser is. And examples of browsers, you have your Chrome browser, like I said, you have your Opera browser, you have Firefox, and a number of them. So what they actually do, they're actually web applications that helps you to display documents which are on the World Wide Web. Now, these documents are simply just a document like this, but contains information. And information could be in form of text, images, and videos. Basically, at a point, it was just text and images. So for coming towards this this side of technology, we're seeing more of video content now. So basically, the documents that we're talking about is simply made up of text, images, and videos. So text, images, and videos are used to organize content or to organize information, and they are put on the World Wide Web, and the browser helps you to actually display it and interact with it. Now, the next question we want to talk about is, what is the World Wide Web? Now, I'm going through this because not to bore you with maybe the technicality of things, but if we want to be professional web designers, we need to understand the basics or the foundations of what we're talking about. Because when you're pitching to a client, they could ask you some of these simple questions and we'll not be able to provide answers to it because it's just something we think we know. What's a browser? What is the internet? And stuff like that. So that's why I just decided to go through some of these basics since we're talking about the introduction to website design. Now, I said, what is the World Wide Web? Because after going through all these definitions, I'm going to put everything together and we'll see how things work. It will just come together and it will make sense, right? So, and also, as I'm talking, because I don't want this video to be so extended, when you have questions, just put it on the comment section. When I'm done, there's going to be a time for question and answer, and I'm going to be able to go through the questions and maybe give helpful responses, right? So I was talking about what the World Wide Web is. The World Wide Web is simply an interconnected system of public web pages which is accessible through the internet. So you see, it's like a build-up, right? So you have a document which is not physical, but I just used it to give an example because it's as simple as this, but only that it is digital. So we have a document, right, which is digital, and this document contains text, images, and videos, which captures information. So it could be my personal website, it could be a church website, it could be an e-commerce website, whatever kind of website it is made up of web pages. And these web pages are simply documents which contains text, images, and video. Now, this document, for the fact that it is digital, it is actually stored somewhere. Because some people don't understand it. They are like, okay, all the information you can browse, you type something on Google, and in seconds, a lot of information comes up. You see different web pages, different videos, different pictures, and all of that. Where are these pictures coming from? Are they floating in the air? No, they are not. They are actually stored in something we call a server. So that's how it connects to what we're calling the World Wide Web. And I said the World Wide Web is an interconnected system of web pages which is accessible through the internet. Now, the World Wide Web is not the internet, but it functions on the internet, because the internet is like what gives the connectivity. So like just to explain it as simple as I can, they call it the World Wide Web, a web. And when we say a web, the first thing that may come to our mind is like maybe a web is like an interconnection. It's just like a cobweb. You see that it's like all connected together, well knitted, right? Everything is connected together. That's what the World Wide Web is, connecting several web pages in different areas. You don't need to be, for instance, these are two documents. I can actually connect them physically. So, but if a document is in the US and a document is in Nigeria, you cannot connect them physically. So the system that connects them, or that will make it possible for me to, from my system or my laptop in Nigeria, read or comment on a document that is uploaded somewhere in the US, is the World Wide Web. It gives us the interconnectivity between web pages. And this interconnectivity is powered by what we call the internet, right? It is powered by what we call the internet. And what is the internet? The internet is simply a connection of computers, a connection of servers, because your computer will serve as a server, right? Your computer will serve as a server. Now, why am I saying that? Your computer is like a storage device. For instance, in my computer, I have lots of videos and I have lots of books, right? They are saved in the storage of my computer. So my computer can actually act as a server. So if I want to share a document with you, I can have part of the country servers. And when I mean servers, the simplest way for me to explain it is like memory cards. For instance, in our phones, we have memory cards, which are like storage devices. Then if we want to go further, we have hard drives. So your system can serve as an hard drive, which houses information in form of a web document, which is text, which contains text, images, and videos. And the internet helps people from other locations to connect from their laptop to your laptop. So that's what the internet does, right? I was saying that the information on the internet is not floating in the air. They are actually stored in servers or storage devices. So like I was saying, a company like YouTube have full-blown buildings that can even span maybe like massive structures of storage devices, so that whilst I'm recording like this, or whilst I'm streaming a content online, it's actually saving in a server somewhere. And if that building shuts down, maybe there's no power, electricity, the internet, a part of the internet is going to turn off. You're going to search online and you'll not see information. For instance, they will say WhatsApp went down. Something may have happened. There could have been a breach of electricity, and you try to connect with somebody on your WhatsApp and it will not work, because the internet is what is powering that connectivity between my own WhatsApp on my phone and your WhatsApp on your phone. So I just wanted us to have this basic understanding, and I hope I'm not boring us with all this, right? So that's basically how the internet or website works. So website in storage devices we call servers, and these servers may be hard drives, because we have servers that are just that are built specifically for storage. Unlike my laptop now, it's serving as a laptop device for me, and at the same time, it's also serving as a storage device for me. But for a company like YouTube or Facebook, they actually have server buildings where they have tons and tons and tons of storage devices where the globe, so that by the help of the internet, or by the help of the World Wide Web, all the computers in the world are connected by the help of the internet. So I'm communicating. So please let me know in the comment section. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. So basically, that's how the whole website gist works. So they are simply digital documents. So one digital document is called a web page. And when you have a combination of them, a collection of them, we call them a website, because they are interconnected. So you can see a website, you have the home page, you have the service page where you list out all the things you do. The home page is like an introduction, what you see first. Just the same way you enter a business building, and the first thing you see is going to be the reception. So the homepage is like the reception, where we give you a background of what we do and all of those stuff. Then you can now ask, okay, what are the services you offer? That will now take you to a different slide, which is now the service page. We will talk about the services and all of that, right? And then we can have the contact page where we have our contact information. We can have the blog page where we post content in terms of maybe educating our customers or our visitors and all of that. So when you have a multiplicity of pages, more than one, we now call it a website. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. And if I can quickly show us, I know every one of us know what a website is, but let me see if I can quickly show us just an example, right? Just as a quick example, let me show us what a website looks like. Let me show us what a website looks like. Okay. 1080. Just give me a moment. 20. All right. So just to quickly show us what a website look like before we move on. Okay, so this is actually a website. I hope you can see it on my screen. So this is actually a website. As you can see, we have multiple pages. So this is like the home page. So if it was just this page we had, we'll call this a web page. But although it can also be called a website, we call them one-page websites. But a one-page website is called a web page. It's when you have a combination of web pages, you can now call it a website. So for the case of this particular website, which is my company website, right, the company I work for, right, you have the home page, you have the about us page, you have our products, you have contact us, you have career page, you have internship page, you have academy, and these like 8 pages or even more because we have some other linked pages down here. So this gives you a website. And now the aim of this training is to teach you how to build something like this, right, and become professional at it and be able to sell it as a service to businesses or to clients as the case may be, right? So I'll just turn that slide off since I've showed you that. All right. So haven't understood what a website is. The next question is to talk about how website actually works. And I've actually talked about it. And I think if anything is not clear, you can just maybe take the video a few minutes back and you listen through again. So, but basically, websites are web pages. And what are web pages? Web pages are digital documents that are accessible via the World Wide Web by the power of the internet. And these digital documents are actually stored on storage devices called servers. And we have servers in we have the big guns of the internet, the companies that power the internet. Actually, you talk about Google, you talk about YouTube, you talk about those kind of platforms. They actually have $1 million of budgets to power servers that carry all this information. So when you delete something, it's not like it's disappeared from the blues. It's actually deleted, just the same way you delete an information from your phone or from your computer. So when you delete something, it's also deleted on the server, so that when you now search for it again, you don't find it. It has been deleted on the server. I hope that is clear. So all these documents, all this information, all these videos and all of those stuff we watch online, they're actually stored on storage devices. Just the same way you have videos stored on your phone and you can search them out and watch them. So that's how it works. So there's no spiritism about it. It's all technology. They are stored on storage devices, physical storage devices, and these storage devices, which we call computers, are interconnected by what we call the internet. And this interconnection, we'll now call it the World Wide Web, because they are all these computers are connected together, so that a computer in Nigeria like I'm in now, I can connect with an information that is stored on a server or in a computer in the US. Right now, that leads me to my second website works, which I've already answered to an extent, but there's a reason I had a special slide to talk about this. And in this particular slide, I'm talking about two things: hostings and domain. Now, these are the two things you need to set up a website. Since you are not YouTube, that has a full building of storage devices, right? A string or a name attached to that particular, maybe my Bluetooth folder. The reason for that is because there is a particular or a unique name string attached to every server or to every folder in the server. And that's why this particular slide is important. And we call these things hostings and domain. And now, what are hostings? Now, we understand what a website is. We want to build a website. How do we get a server, which is like a storage device somewhere, maybe in one of the major servers abroad or whatever, that is connected to the internet already, so that we can be able to set up our web pages and all of that, so that anybody can access our website from around the globe? The solution to that is what we call hosting, right? The solution to that is what we call hosting. There are software companies that sell server spaces. right? So you don't need to think about the technology behind it. You just go on the platform and you buy a server space. So there are different pricing based on the company you are buying with, and there are a number of them, right? And I'll walk us through that shortly. There are a number of them. So they sell server spaces, and like I wrote here, the server space functions like a room, or for instance, you have a building, and in that building you have a room to yourself. So maybe it's like a family house. Everybody has their room. You have your own room, right? So the building is like the server that houses all these computer storage devices. So each of the rooms are like computer storage devices. So your own room is now your own server. And to get access to a room like that, or to get access to a server or a storage device, is called is by buying a hosting plan or a server plan with a hosting company. And like I said, there are a number of them. So all you just need to do is to go on a website where they say, go on a website of one of these hosting companies and you buy one of their plans. And when you buy it, they give you the information to access that server or that room, where that room is. So if I have a room to myself, like I do in my apartment, right? I have that room to myself in my apartment, right? It is my room. So any of my properties can be stored there. I can store my degree or my certificates and all of that in that room. That's like a server, a hosting device. It houses the information. It houses the digital. You don't have to go to the sitting room. You don't have to go to the kitchen. You will come to Toby Davis's room. So that's named the room in the building, where the building is the entire server location. And on the server location, you have a room, which is like a storage space. That storage space has a unique name, which we call the domain name. So now, if I have a hosting plan or a server space and I have a domain name, which are, like I said, are the two first things you need to get, it means that whatever I save in that room or in that server space, I save it there. Now, for every other person to access that document, maybe I put my degree, right? Maybe I put my degree in that particular room, and now I'm in Nigeria and I have a friend in the US and wants to look at my degree. All I need to give to the friend is the name tag on my room, which is called the domain name. I hope it makes sense. I think I'm trying to break it down as simple as I can. So if I have a room, it's called my server space. It's where my storage is my storage. So that's where I will put all my information, all my web pages, all my videos, all my documents, all my images, all my contents that will be in my website. So whatever information you are seeing on the website, they're actually saved on a storage. So, and each storage has a unique name tag, and that's what we call a domain. So basically, for you to build a website, you need to have a hosting plan, which is like a server space where all your information are stored, and a domain, which is like a unique name string to that particular server, so that having put all your information on that server and with the skill of web design, organize it properly, you can now share the address to people, so that with that address, people can now put it on a web browser to search out your documents. And now in that room, like I said, there can be different compartments. I can have like a shelf. I can say Toby Davis 1, Toby Davis 2, Toby Davis 3. In Toby Davis 1, it could be my secondary school certificate. In Toby Davis 2, it could be my university certificate, my first degree certificate. In Toby Davis 3, it could be my second degree certificate, right? Each of them is inside Toby Davis. So let's say each of them is inside what we call tobydavis.com. Now in the layer 1 is tobydavis.com/1, and that contains my secondary school certificate. Layer 2 is tobydavis.com/2, that contains my first degree certificate. In layer 3 is tobydavis.com/3, that contains my second degree certificate. Now if a friend wants to see my certificates in general, I can just send him tobydavis.com, which is the domain or the address to the entire room, and from there that will lead into the web page or the home page, which is like, let's say, the entrance of the room. So from there you can now locate, okay, I don't want to see the secondary school stuff, I want to see the university stuff. You will now go to the second layer, which is tobydavis.com/2. So that is how we have it in that website I showed you now. So there's snappylabs.com, but that is just the home page. That's like the sitting room. Now to access information in other rooms, you click on it, the browser will interpret that string of name or that address and open up the information you have in that room. Then from About Us, you can go to Services. Once you click on Services, the browser will interpret that name string, which we call domain name, and open up the information on that particular room. I hope it makes sense. I think I've tried to break it down as simple as I can. So if you don't get it, you can just take the video back. I'll allow the video to be on the channel so you can always rewatch it to understand how it works. And like I said, the reason I'm saying this is so you don't just have surface knowledge. You actually understand how this thing works. So you can speak with confidence when you're talking to clients and they know that you're actually an expert, right? Not just surface, or you don't really know how things work and you get confused before any question is put to you. So how website works, they work on hostings and domains. So if you want to build a website, you need to get a hosting to store your web pages, your digital documents, and you need to get a domain name, which is like a unique name string tied to that hosting. And it is the domain name that you will share with visitors, you will share with clients, and it is the domain name that the browser will interpret. And once you give the browser the domain name, the browser will search through all the servers we have on the World Wide Web, search through it till it locates that room with that particular name tag and display the information in the room. So that's how it works, and it's as simple as that, right? It's as simple as that. So that will lead me to how websites work, or how to put up websites. And I call that the next slide. I call that how websites work 2.0. So now we're going into the meat of the gist, right? How websites work. Now we understand how hostings work, which are the servers and storage devices, and we understand the domain, which gives us unique name string tied to a particular storage device, so that once you give that name string to a browser, the browser searches through the entire World Wide Web, goes through all the physical documents. How do I make this document? Let's say I've structured my website on this page. Okay, I will have an image here, I will have a heading here. I've drawn it out on it's like an acronym for hypertext markup. That's what we call like HTML document, which is a digital document, right? And all you can do is just to read information there. But with the right part of it, you can also impute. So for instance, we're on YouTube now. You have that is the hard way. So a lot of people think, before you can build a website, you need to understand coding. And coding, like the word goes, coding, it's all codes, it's all jargons, and it's really difficult to understand. Although it's a very high-paying digital skill. So it's not like it's so difficult to understand. It's something that can be learned, but it's really technical because you just have code. It's not English, this or that. No, you have symbols and all of those stuff, right? So it's really complicated and people get scared. So that will now lead me to the easy way of building websites. So you don't need to be a coder, or however I want to call it, a programmer or a developer to create websites. There's an easy way to go about it. And that will lead me to the second point I have here, which I call content management system. And when we create an acronym out of that, we call it CMS. This is like a game changer. With this, you don't need a single knowledge of HTML. Personally, I understand a bit of HTML and CSS, but I'm not a developer, right? But you don't need a single knowledge about codes, and you can build a beautiful programming with a programming language, right? With codes. So developers have built it, and they built it as templates so that you don't need to understand the coding language. You don't need to understand how to code. All you just need to do is to write on an existing template. Like we did with Canva when we're talking about designs. You don't need to be a person to design. All you just need to do is to log into Canva, look for one awesome template, edit text here and there, and you publish, and you have a design, and you can call yourself a designer. So also in that light, you have what we call a content management system that already has all the code work done. So all you just need to do is to go there and pick templates here and there and put it all together, and you have a website. And they are so, in fact, I think if my stats are correct, 30% or even more of websites you have online, they are built with a content management system. Because like for crying out loud, to develop a website with code, it's going to take weeks running into months. But with the power of content management system, like I'm going to teach us in the course of this training, I can build a website in 30 minutes, right? I can build a website in 30 minutes. So imagine that a developer can sit for months or for weeks trying to code, trying to write the code, the jargons, the symbols to develop a web page. But I can just come and say, okay, I'll just learn how to use a content management system, and in a matter of hours, I'll put, and like I said, there are no disadvantages to using a content management system, because over 30% of the websites we have online, even some websites as much as bank websites that need so much security because of kind of job it's meant to do, they build it on CMS, right? And we have a number of content management system. We have what we call WordPress, we have what we call Joomla, we have Drupal, and we have a number of them, right? We have WordPress. WordPress is a content management system. Joomla is a content management system. Drupal is a content management system. So these are all content management systems that have been built by developers. Hundreds of developers across the world come together and build the structure, build the moving parts, so that those of us that are not developers can just come in, take this header, take this body, put it together, do it like this, do it like that, and we publish and we have a website, right? Does that make sense? Let me know in the comment section if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comment section if that makes sense. Type "it makes sense" so that I'll know that you are following me. Then secondly, to even make it easier, we now have what we call drag and drop website builders. They also function on the basis of content management system. How this one work is, you just have all the elements, all the codes have been written. So I'm not seeing codes. What I'm seeing now is something I can relate with. Page builder does is that it does the coding behind the scene and gives you the beautiful part that you can relate with. It's just like what computer does. For instance, computer codes are computer language where you have 1 and 0 and binary numbers and all of that. Those are coding. Those are coding language or programming language. We don't understand those codes, but what do? We have a computer device that interprets. So if I'm typing on my computer, what is this? I understand what is this because it is English. So I type what is this to the computer. What the computer does is that it takes that what is this, it converts it into a code that the computer will understand, processes it, and it travels to whatever server, whatever, before it displays it to the person I'm chatting with as what is this again. So it takes the what is this English, it converts it to code, processes it, so I can travel in the computer or in the computer world, and when it gets to the destination, it converts it back to English and displays it to all the codes, and they give us what we can relate with. So we're not seeing codes. We're not seeing code. We're not seeing jargons. What we're seeing is a beautiful website. You are seeing the header here. You are seeing the body here. You are seeing an image here. All you just need is to, oh, I don't like the image in this place. Let me drag it to this place. Oh, I don't like this text. It's too big. Let me reduce it. That's what you are seeing. Something you can relate with, as against looking at jargons and codes and all of that. So please, if this makes sense, let me know it makes sense on the comment section. Let me know if it makes sense on the comment section. I'm waiting for your comments. Waiting for your comments. If that makes sense, let me know if it makes sense on the comment section. Also, click on the notification bell so that you always get notification whenever we go live and share good stuff. All right. So moving on. Now we understand how websites are built. We understand the difficult way, and now we have shown you the easy way. So in the course of this training, I'm not going to be teaching you how to code. That's the difficult way. It is the easy way I'm going to be teaching you. So I'm going to be teaching you how to use a content management system, and in less than 30 minutes, you can build a full-blown website, right? You can build a full-blown website. And the content management system we're going to be dealing with is WordPress, because it's like the most, it is the most popular right now. It is seamless to use. It is secured. It is robust. So we're using WordPress. So I'm going to be teaching you how to use WordPress and how to build any kind of website with any kind of function. Well, can you use it? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And then I said we have drag and drop website builders. I'm putting this here that show us a bit of that. So, but basically, this web design class is now on content management system called WordPress. So install it on your domain, and your website is live. Now you can now do modifications. So the internet, just like I told you that the internet writes or breathes on content, internet breathes on a website. You know why? If you have a text content it's on a website. If you have an image content, it's going to fly like us. That's what it is. That's what it is. Facebook, you see a list of all the people bearing the same name. Does that make sense? So you can now say, okay, no, it's not this person, it is this person I'm looking out for. Then you now click on that person, it takes you to the person's room or the person's website on Facebook, where you now display the information on that person's storage device. Now, there's a difference between your Facebook name and a domain name. A domain name is unique. If I have a domain name, tobydavis.com, nobody else can have it in the entire world, because it has to be a unique string, because that unique name identifies a particular storage device. So it doesn't have to be confused because it needs to know which of the Tobii are you talking about. Is it the Tobii in US or the Tobii in Nigeria? Because if it's the Tobii in US, the person's room or storage device is down the hall. But if it's Tobii in Nigeria, the person's storage or this person's storage device is here. So I need to know the one you're talking about so I can locate it. So that's what it is. So like I was saying, the second reason that it has a large market, every business needs a website, and every people are getting online every day. And how does a business go online? Is by owning a website. You can own an actual website, or you can own a website within Facebook's website. That's like coming on, creating a Facebook page, like creating a Facebook page. So you can come online in two ways. There are social media, which is somebody's building, or you own your own website. Now, there's a limitation to being in somebody's building, so I don't need to go into that. It's just like you living in somebody's house or owning your own house. There are limitations because you're going to play in the degree of freedom that that person gives you. That's why people complain, Facebook banned my account. But if you own your own house, it cannot be banned because you own it. You determine the rules, right? So we are saying people are coming online every day. And how do they come online? They are building websites for their companies. And like somebody says, I also have written here, a business is not a business until it has a website. You're not serious yet. It's just like saying you're not serious yet until you register your business name or whatever. That's how a website is. If you tell somebody that you're into business and you don't have a website, maybe you're not serious yet. Or you say, okay, I'm doing this thing. Okay, send me your website so I can see what you do and all of that. If you don't have a website, you say, okay, it's like this person is not serious. So it has a large market because every business, any business that's going to be better tomorrow, in a year time or whatever, or that is already existing, they will soon need a website. So it has a large market. So it's not only the skill for the future, it is a mass appeal skill because everybody needs it, right? And so another advantage, it serves as a digital office and it is open 24/7. It serves as a digital office and it's open 24/7. Like I was using the case of going into a building, a physical building, and meeting the receptionist. That's like coming to the homepage of the website. And from that homepage, you can say, okay, who do you want to see? The service, the person that talks to you about our services, or the person that talks to you about how to learn a skill, or the person that talks to you about how to do this. Which person do you want to see? So okay, I want to talk to the person that talks to me about the services. Then they direct you to the services area. So also in the website, when you come, you see about us, you see services, and you're like, okay, I want to know about the services that people provide. Then you click on services. So it's like a digital office. In fact, it's like a full-blown team where all the information are preset and all of that, and it communicates with your audience. You can even convert them into customers. They come, they see what you do, you put your price, and they take action. And we have those kind of websites. We call them e-commerce websites, where you don't have to do it physically. I write my digital sales pitch and all of that, and I put on my website. And when you visit it, you say, oh, I like this phone. Wow, it has this feature, it has that, all written out as digital content. And there's a buy button there to take action. And I buy, and business goes on. So it serves as a digital office. And like the fourth reason I wrote here, just like business name is important to businesses, a lot of people are doing registration for business name for their businesses now. So also a website is also important. Then number 5, it can generate organic traffic. And what we mean by organic traffic is like natural traffic, right? Natural traffic where you don't need to pay for the traffic. If your website is properly done and the SEO is properly done, somebody can just search. Maybe you have a website that talks about how to lose weight, and you actually have good information on the website. So I can just go to Google and say how to lose weight, and your website will be one of the websites that will come up, right? Just the same way you can have a page that talks about organic cream. If I go on Facebook and type on my search bar organic cream, a number of pages are going to come out, and I'm going to see a number of them. And if your own is very active and all of that, it can be one of the ones on the top, and somebody can just click on it. From there, connect with your business. So also an actual website can also generate organic traffic for you because people can reach you through search engines, through social media, and all of those good stuff. And another reason is that a website it helps build trust for your brand. So for instance, we say one of the advantages of the internet is that you can do business with people from around the globe. Now, how do you do business with people? You're going to call them on phone. You're going to have a website, and they can go to that website and see everything about your business. They can see information. They can see all the content that you've put out. They can see everything about your business, your location, what you do, people you've worked for, jobs you've carried, jobs you've delivered, your partners. It builds trust for your business. So all these reasons are not just on one side. There are both reasons for you if you want to build a website for your own business, and also if you want to learn it as a skill, because it's actually a high paying skill, right? Then the second to the last on my list, like you have one, then you have 50, so that at least 100K per month. So of course 900K is also 6 figures. When you say build hundreds of thousands per month business with a web design skill, how? Imagine you get just one web design. Maybe you've learned this in the next few weeks or in the next few lectures, right? You've learned this skill and you get a job. And now, personally, I will not design a website for nothing less than, okay, let me not call my price, it's not necessary, right? I have my price. And for instance, as a beginner, you may want to charge less because you don't have authority yet. You don't have just the same way a physical business runs. So you know how to go about all that. So, but you can charge, if you charge 100K for a website, it's a very, 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 very cheap price. 100K is a very, very cheap price. You can say 200K, 250K for a website, maybe a school. They want to build a website for the school, maybe a church, maybe a business in your locality, or whatever business it is, they need a website. And to build it, you can charge maybe 100K, 200K. And with what I'm going to teach you, you will not spend 20% of the money, because you just get a domain, a hosting, which you are also going to calculate into the budget. And when you take a website job for 200K, before you spend 50K, you built the website and everything, and you have profit of over 150K. And shock, you can build this website in 1 week. So imagine you get a web design job one a month, and it takes you just a week to build it, right? It takes you just a week to build it, right? It takes you just a week to build it. So you can actually be balling, in quotes. For instance, I get a web design job on the 1st of the month of November. Within 4 or 5 days, I've built it. Although it can take just a few minutes if you learn it very well, and maybe what you're doing is not too tedious and all of that. But let's just put it on a moderate scale. Within a week, you've built it, and you earn 150K. And that's big money in our current Nigeria, because how many persons earn 150K?
It's 10 o'clock.
Right? How many persons earn 150K? So it's a high paying skill, and it is high in demand. So if you know how to position yourself, when you have this skill, which I'm also going to teach in the course of this training, how to position yourself and all of that, you're going to be your own boss, and you're going to be earning so much, right? About web consulting, this is you turning the skill into a business. Now I'm going to actually teach us in our next class, because I don't want it to be a very long session. So I wanted to do a very good introduction today. Then in the next class, we're going to start with how to design in essence. So we're going to start with WordPress, and I'm going to show you how to buy a domain, how to buy a hosting, how to connect both together, and how to start building your websites and what you need and all of that. Right? I'm going to cover that in the next video training. So I wanted to do a very good foundation for us today, which I want us to watch. If we need to rewatch it, we'll watch it again. So I will have a very good foundation, so that when we're riding in the next class, which is likely going to hold tomorrow, being Saturday, so I'll be chanced, you know what we're talking about. Now, I said here, web consulting, it is the business of web design. It is highly lucrative, it is a high in demand skill, and you can have recurring income from it. You can have actually designing a website in practical. Will be able to ride on today's knowledge very well. Now, what are the kind of websites we can create? Let me just run through that quickly. We can create corporate websites. I'm going to teach us how to create corporate websites, e-commerce websites. Let me just show us on our screen. Or there's no need for that. So an example of a corporate website, for instance, when you have a company, let's say what company, any company at all, maybe an oil and gas company, a servicing company, you can build a website for them. Or maybe an e-commerce website, something like Jumia, or you want to flag your own e-commerce business and all of that, or you have a client that wants to build an e-commerce business. You will know how to build it from these training sessions, right? Or is it a church website, or is it a school website, or is it a blog, right? Then we have what I call funnel. I put that there because we're doing digital marketing. So I'm not just teaching you web design and all of that. I'm teaching you digital marketing. So I'll be able to like put in one or two things that will also further make you more knowledgeable when it comes to all things digital, right? So we'll talk about funnel, sales pages, opt-in pages, landing pages. These are just like single pages, specific purpose. For instance, a sales page, like the name goes, it's a web page that is dedicated to selling. or an opt-in page. It's a web page that is dedicated for you to opt in the sense that subscribe or drop your email or drop your phone number. And a lot of ads for us, for those of us that have interacted with ads on Facebook, when we click on those ads, many a time they will tell us to drop our email or drop our phone number. So that's called an opt-in page or a landing page. These all means the same thing. So we're going to learn how to create all these kind of websites using WordPress starting from tomorrow. Right now, that's what I wanted to cover as per the foundation for this particular training segment, which is website design and the business of it. So this is the foundation, and I hope I've covered all I need to cover as per how a website works, what a web page is, even how the internet works and all of that. Where the information you are seeing on the internet, these slides you are seeing now, where is it? Why it's not tangible? Where is it? It's actually stored on a storage device somewhere. If that storage device or that building is attacked, right, it's going to crash, right? It's going to crash, right? So that is it. So if there's any question, you can leave it on the comment section. I'm going to go to the comment section very quickly and try to respond to maybe a few questions as much as I can. So if you have any question, please, you can put them on the comment section. So I'm going to quickly go through the comment section to see if I can pick one or two questions to respond to. If there is none, I have a proposition or like an action plan that we should go through before our class tomorrow. Right. All right. So, okay. So questions as much as okay, peace. It does make sense. Okay, so please, this is where we drop questions if we have any, right? If you have a question, please let me know. I have a number of persons live, so if you have a question, please let me know so I know what I'm going to cover as per clarification in case anything was said too fast or too ambiguous. I hope my internet is great. Okay, so if there are no questions, I'm just going to go ahead so I don't waste much of your time, right? So if any question pops up, you can always leave it as a comment. Like I said, like the video for those of us that are live, and also drop your comments and all of that, and I will visit it. Awesome. So like I said, I'm going to give a free offer. So because we're going to be building a website live, so we're going to be doing a live demonstration. So I'm going to give a free offer so that if anybody is interested to have a website in the course of this training, which is going to round up by let's say maximum by Saturday next week, because it's going to be 2 weeks. This week already almost done is 1 week, and next week is the second week, right? You can take advantage of this. So we actually buy a domain for you, buy a home as an example or as an illustration. So we'll buy a domain, we'll buy a hosting, so I can show it to you live, how to buy a hosting, how to buy a domain, how to get them connected together, and all of that. Now there's an advantage to this because I'm going to help you set everything up. I'm going to give you a free theme or a free template, because I told you that the content management system works on templates. So I'm going to give you a free premium template because I'm going to set it up for you. So another advantage of this is that it's going to be your own, and I don't think it's all that expensive. So we'll buy a very cheap domain and a very cheap hosting plan, which will not be very expensive. So it's going to be on a first come first serve base, because we have a number of persons watching and a number of persons in the group. So the first person that complies, I'm going to just put the price together. It's going to be very cheap. So I'm going to send the actual price so we see it on the web page where they sell it. Like I told you, there are companies that sell server space, which we call hosting companies. So I'm going to send you their price or their website so you see the prices and the ones that we should buy. So if anybody is interested, we can use your own as an example. So there's an advantage to this. It means that before the end of this training, you're going to have a website of your own. Then secondly, you are going to have something to actually practice. Somebody's going to we're going to use somebody's account as an example. It's going to be an advantage to the person because we're going to be using his or our own as an example, so he or she can ride on that. Then for those of us, because I said it's just one person, so for the rest of us, we can also follow the steps to buy our own domain, buy our own hosting, and also practice, because the learning is in the practice. You learn by practicing, not by only watching a video. Like they said, applied information is what is power, right? So another advantage is that by the end of this training, maybe by Saturday, you already have a website. So not just a website for yourself, a website you can also show to people and say, okay, I built this website, I can do same for you, and you charge, and you are in business already. Does that make sense? So we're going to do it on a first from first serve basis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the actual price from the sales page, and I'm going to drop the links, and I'll put the sum on the group. So the first person that shows interest and that shows commitment is who we're going to use with is who we're going to ride with. So we can use that person's own as an example and show us live. So I don't just um explain it to you, but also show you how to buy these things, because I actually have a domain and I have a hosting, so I really do not want to buy a new one except for the purpose of showing us. But if it comes to that, maybe I will just do that as well, so I can actually show us how to buy a domain, because it's actually an issue. Some persons don't know how that works, so I want to show you so that everything is captured in this training. So I'm going to put the prices and all of that together, and the first person to show interest and commitment, we're going to use that person's own as an example. So that's just to say that. So if you do not get anything, or you join the video late, you can just go through so you get a very good foundation, so we can ride on that tomorrow. The second training is going to hold tomorrow. In that training, we're going to design a website live, like in practical, right? So that is it. So you may want to tell me or ask your question on the comment section so I can maybe respond, or also you may want to also tell me your key takeaway in this particular training video. What is your key takeaway in this particular training video? What is your key takeaway? Put it on the comment section. Are we on the comment section? Or we cannot comment? I'm seeing just a few comments here, and I know we have a number of persons live. Like I said again, if you're just joining us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and also to click on the notification bell, and also to like the video as well. And also drop on the comment section your key takeaway or your questions, and I'll do well to respond to them. So that brings us to the end of this particular installment, which is the introductory part of our training session on web design and the business of it. I hope it was worth a while, and I hope it actually gave, or it's actually gave us a very good foundation for those of us that knew nothing about websites or how it works and all of that. And for those of us that also know how stuff work, I believe it also gave us a kind of a better perspective to things. Right. So that brings us to the end of this training. I want to see your comments, your questions, your key takeaway on the comment section, and I'm going to respond to every comment. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to drop update as per timing for tomorrow's training. You don't want to miss it, because in that training, we're going to be designing a website live. We're going to start from the ground up, from buying a domain name and buying a hosting, which I told you are the first two things you need to get to create a website, then actually going ahead to create the website in practical. Right. So thank you for joining me. Do have a lovely day. Bye.